The happiest week of my life began with a ring in my pocket and a future I thought nobody could steal. I still can't believe we're getting married, Olivia said as she reached across the cafe table and squeezed my hand. I smiled. I've waited 3 years to hear you say yes. I'm not letting you change your mind. She laughed. Too late. You're stuck with me. I was hoping you'd say that. She leaned closer. Have you told your grandfather yet? Not officially. He called me this morning. What did he want? He invited me to a private family dinner. Her eyebrows lifted. Private? That's unusual. I know. What did he say? Just that there was something important the family needed to hear. She looked thoughtful. Do you think it's about the company? She asked. I honestly don't know. You'll tell me afterward. Everything. She smiled again, but something about it felt different. It lasted only a second before she looked away. I ignored the feeling. Maybe I was imagining it. That evening, my phone rang again. Ethan, my grandfather said. His voice sounded weaker than usual. I'm here, Grandpa. Be at the house tomorrow at 7. I'll be there. Come alone. Is everything okay? There was a long silence. No, he finally answered. But it will be. Before I could ask another question, the call ended. The next evening, I drove to the Carter estate. The mansion had always felt enormous, but that night it felt strangely quiet. Nathan opened the front door before I knocked. There you are, he said with a wide smile. Grandpa's been waiting. I hugged him. Good to see you. You too, brother. He stepped aside. Inside, the dining room was already prepared. Grandpa William sat at the head of the table. Olivia was there. Victoria Hale, our family lawyer, sat beside him. Madison Reed, a journalist who had covered Carter Industries for years, stood near the fireplace chatting with Olivia. Seeing Madison surprised me. I whispered, Why is a reporter here? Nathan shrugged. Maybe Grandpa wants the announcement documented. Grandpa raised his glass. Sit down. We all took our seats. He looked around the room before speaking. I don't know how much time I have left. Grandpa, I interrupted. I'm serious, Ethan. His eyes met mine. There is something every one of you deserves to know. The room became silent. Nathan folded his hands. Victoria adjusted her glasses. Madison quietly opened a notebook. Olivia reached under the table and squeezed my hand. Grandpa inhaled deeply. Many years ago. He stopped. His chest tightened. Nathan immediately stood. Grandpa, maybe you should rest. I'm fine. No, Nathan insisted. Your doctor warned you. Victoria nodded. I agree. Olivia looked worried. Maybe tomorrow. Grandpa frowned. No, this concerns the true heir of the Carter family. The words froze everyone. I looked around the table. Nathan smiled. Too quickly. Olivia glanced toward him. Victoria looked at Madison. Madison looked back at Nathan. The exchange lasted less than 2 seconds. Most people would never notice. I did. Something wasn't right. Grandpa continued. For 30 years. Nathan suddenly interrupted again. Grandpa, please. I said I'm fine. Nathan slowly sat down. Nobody spoke. Then Grandpa smiled at me. Ethan, after dinner, stay behind. I will. I owe you the truth. The meal continued, but almost nobody touched the food. Conversation became forced. Madison asked harmless questions. Victoria talked about business. Nathan kept making jokes. Olivia barely spoke. Every few minutes I caught someone looking at someone else. Nathan, Olivia, Victoria, Madison. Tiny looks. Silent messages. I couldn't understand them. After dessert, Grandpa stood. I'm tired. Nathan immediately walked beside him. I'll help you upstairs. Grandpa nodded. As they disappeared, Olivia kissed my cheek. I'll wait for your call. You'll be the first person I tell. I love you. I love you too. She smiled. This time the smile looked almost painful. Everyone left. I waited. 10 minutes passed. Then Nathan returned. Grandpa fell asleep. He asked me to stay. He'll talk tomorrow. I frowned. That's not like him. He wasn't feeling well. I wanted to argue. Instead, I nodded. The drive home felt strangely lonely. About 20 minutes later, My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Hello. A woman's voice whispered, "Don't trust anyone." What? They know you're asking questions. Who are you? You have to disappear before. The line suddenly went dead. I stayed at the screen. My heart pounded. I tried calling back. No answer. Then headlights appeared behind me. A black SUV. It came closer. Too close. What are you doing? The vehicle slammed into my rear bumper. My car lurched forward. I gripped the steering wheel. Stop. Another impact. Harder. My tires screamed across the pavement. The road curved around the mountain. There was no guardrail. The SUV hit me again. This time I understood. This wasn't road rage. Someone wanted me gone. No. My car spun sideways. Glass exploded around me. The world flipped. Metal screamed. Everything became weightless. As my vehicle rolled toward the darkness below, only one thought filled my mind. This was planned. Then everything went black. When I finally opened my eyes again, bright hospital lights burned above me. My body wouldn't move. My head throbbed. A doctor noticed me first. He's awake. I turned slowly. Olivia stood beside my bed with tears running down her face. Nathan looked relieved. Victoria folded her arms. Madison held a notebook. All four of them stared at me. And for the first time in my life, I couldn't tell whether I was surrounded by people who loved me or by the people who had just tried to kill me. The first thing I heard was Olivia's voice. "Ethan, can you hear me?" I opened my eyes slowly and looked around the room as if I had never seen it before. My head hurt, but not enough to erase anything. I remembered the dinner. I remembered the phone call. I remembered the black SUV. Most of all, I remembered the faces around that table. A doctor stepped closer. "Mr. Carter, do you know your name?" I stared at him for several seconds before shaking my head. "I'm sorry. What do you remember?" "I don't know." The doctor glanced toward Olivia. She covered her mouth and started crying. "Oh, Ethan." Nathan moved beside my bed and gently placed a hand on my shoulder. "It's okay, brother." I looked at him with empty eyes. "Brother." His expression never changed. "Yes, I'm Nathan." I frowned. "I'm sorry. You don't have to apologize. I don't remember you." He smiled sadly. "That's all right. We'll help you." Inside, I almost laughed. His performance was perfect. Too perfect. The doctor nodded. The accident caused significant trauma. Memory loss is possible. Olivia reached for my hand. "I'm Olivia." I looked at her as though she were a stranger. "You know me." Tears rolled down her face. "We're engaged." I blinked. "Engaged?" "Yes." "I'm sorry. You don't have to be." She squeezed my hand. "We'll make new memories." Every word sounded sincere. Still, I couldn't forget the nervous look she exchanged with Nathan at my grandfather's dinner. A nurse entered. "Only family for now." Nathan smiled politely. "We'll step outside." They all left except Olivia. She sat quietly beside me. After several minutes she whispered, "I thought I lost you." I forced confusion into my voice. "Have we been together long?" 3 years. 3 years. She nodded. "I love you." I looked down. "I wish I remembered." She began crying again. The guilt on her face looked real. That was what confused me most. If she had helped betray me, why did she look so broken? The next morning Nathan returned carrying coffee. "Morning." I looked up. "Hello. Feeling any better?" "I don't know." He chuckled softly. "You always hated hospitals." "I did." "You complained about them constantly." "I don't remember." "That's okay." He pulled a chair closer. "Don't worry about work. I have a job. You help run Carter Industries." "Really? You've always been brilliant." I scratched my head. "I don't even know what Carter Industries is." His smile widened. "Then don't think about it." That answer bothered me. A caring brother would encourage me to recover. Nathan seemed happier every time I admitted I remembered nothing. Later that afternoon, Victoria Hale arrived carrying a folder. "Ethan, I'm sorry. You don't know me." She smiled professionally. "I'm Victoria Hale. I've handled your family's legal affairs for years." I nodded slowly. "I see." There are only a few temporary documents. What kind of documents? Nothing serious. She opened the folder. Since your doctors recommend rest, your grandfather has temporarily removed you from company decisions. Grandfather? William Carter. I have a grandfather. Yes. I don't remember him. I'm sorry to hear that. She pointed toward the signature page. If you're comfortable, sign here acknowledging your medical leave. I stayed at the paper. I can't read legal words. That's all right. You said my grandfather made this decision. Yes. When did he visit me? She hesitated. He. Then she smiled again. Yesterday. That was impossible. I had been awake only since this morning. The lie lasted less than a second, but I caught it. I lowered my eyes. I trust you. Good. I signed with a shaky hand, making sure my signature looked clumsy. After she left, I kept thinking about her answer. Why lie about something so small? 2 days later, Madison reappeared with a camera crew outside my room. She asked softly, "Would you mind if I spoke with you?" "I don't know who you are." "I'm a journalist." "A journalist?" "I've covered your family's charitable work for years." "I don't remember." "I know." She lowered her voice. "The public is praying for you." "The public knows me." "They do now." She smiled kindly. "We've shared your story." "What story?" "The story of a man fighting to rebuild his life." I looked away. "That sounds lonely." "It won't be." She stood. "I hope your memories return." That evening I borrowed a nurse's tablet while pretending to watch television. Instead, I searched my own name. Every headline praised Nathan. Every article described him as my devoted brother. Every interview quoted anonymous family sources. Every report was written by Madison. I quietly placed the tablet aside. Someone was shaping the story before I could speak. 3 days later, I heard a soft knock. An older woman stepped inside. She closed the door without saying a word. "You must be." I stopped. She pressed one finger against her lips. Then she hugged me. Very softly she whispered, "Don't react." I stayed perfectly still. She slipped a folded note beneath my blanket. "I'll come back." Before leaving, she spoke loudly enough for anyone outside to hear. "I'm Grace. Your aunt." I forced another confused smile. "It's nice to meet you." "You too." She walked away. I waited until the hallway became quiet. Then I unfolded the paper. Only 3 words were written across it. "Don't trust Nathan." I read them again. Then again. Every doubt inside me became certainty. Someone else had seen the truth. I closed my eyes and hid the note beneath my pillow. At that moment, I made the most dangerous decision of my life. If everyone believed I had forgotten everything, I would let them keep believing it until they showed me exactly who they really were. I had been pretending to forget my own life for almost a week. The hardest part was not acting confused. The hardest part was pretending I still trusted the people standing around my bed. Olivia arrived first that morning carrying fresh flowers. "I thought these might brighten your room," she said. I smiled politely. "They are beautiful. Thank you." She set the vase beside the window. "Do you remember liking lilies?" I shook my head. "I'm sorry." "It's all right." She forced a smile. "We can learn everything again." I watched her carefully. She looked exhausted. There were dark circles beneath her eyes. "You haven't been sleeping," I said. She looked surprised. "I haven't." "Because of me." "Because I almost lost you." I lowered my eyes. "I wish I could remember us." "You will." Her voice trembled. "I know you will." A long silence filled the room. Then she spoke without thinking. "You always said you'd never let Nathan run Carter Industries." The words slipped out naturally. She froze. I looked at her with empty eyes. "Nathan." She swallowed. My mistake." "Who's Nathan?" "My." She hesitated. "Your brother." I said something about him. "You probably don't remember." "I don't." She quickly changed the subject. "Forget I said anything." But I couldn't. How could she know private conversations I had only shared with my grandfather? A soft knock interrupted us. Victoria Hale entered carrying another folder. "Good morning, Ethan." I smiled politely. "Hello. I only need a few minutes." Olivia stood. I'll give you privacy. After she left, Victoria placed several papers on the bedside table. I have more documents requiring your signature. I looked down. I still don't understand legal papers. I know. Shouldn't someone explain them? They are routine. What do they say? They simply protect your family's interests. My family? Yes. I trust you. You should. She handed me a pen. I deliberately held it awkwardly. My handwriting feels strange. That's understandable. She pointed toward the signature line. Right there. I looked directly at her. Can I ask something? Of course. If I don't remember anything. Yes. How do I know these papers help me instead of hurting me? For the first time, her calm expression cracked. You don't think I'd deceive you? I don't know you. She recovered immediately. Fair enough. She gathered the papers. We'll wait. As she turned to leave, I noticed frustration replacing confidence. She hadn't expected resistance from someone she believed was helpless. That afternoon, Madison Reed arrived carrying a recorder. Mind if we talk? I guess. She smiled warmly. This won't take long. She switched on the recorder. Ethan, what do you remember about the accident? Nothing. Do you remember driving alone? No. Did anyone call you before the crash? I stared at her. I don't remember. Did your grandfather tell you anything important that night? My heartbeat quickened. How did she know about the dinner? I shrugged. I don't remember seeing him. I understand. She asked another question. Did you ever argue with Nathan about inheritance? Again, not concern. Interrogation. I slowly shook my head. I'm sorry. No memories. None. She smiled. Thank you. After she left, I replayed every question in my mind. She wasn't searching for my memories. She was checking whether I still had them. That evening, I pulled out the note Grace had hidden beneath my pillow. Don't trust Nathan. I whispered the words to myself. I won't. Every conversation was becoming another piece of the puzzle. Olivia knew too much. Victoria wanted signatures. Madison wanted confirmation. Nathan wanted silence. The following morning, a tall man wearing a dark suit entered my room. He showed me a badge. I'm Detective Daniel Ross. I nodded. Hello. How are you feeling? Confused. I imagine. He pulled up a chair. I have a few questions. I'll try. Do you remember the accident? No. Do you remember anyone following you? No. He studied my face. I've interviewed several witnesses. Oh. Their stories don't match. I frowned. They don't. No. What does that mean? I'm still figuring that out. He stood. If you remember anything, call me. I will. He paused at the door. One more thing. Yes. Your grandfather has requested to see you. Hope rushed through me. When? Soon. I'd like that. So would he. He left. For the first time since the crash, I believed answers were finally coming. The next morning, Nathan arrived unusually cheerful. Good news. What is it? Grandpa isn't feeling well. Oh. We'll postpone the visit. I wanted to meet him. You will. When? Soon. He smiled. The smile felt rehearsed. Later that afternoon, Detective Ross returned. His expression was different. Ethan. Yes. I have bad news. My stomach tightened. What happened? We went to bring your grandfather here. And he disappeared. I stared at him. Disappeared. His security team can't find him. Did he leave willingly? We don't know. Fear settled deep inside me. Grandpa had been ready to tell me the truth. Now he was gone. I looked toward the window. Nathan was moving faster than I had imagined. And everyone around him was making mistakes because they believed I had become a broken man who couldn't remember yesterday. They had no idea I remembered every word, every glance, every lie. Their confidence would become their weakness. All I had to do was keep pretending a little longer. Grace waited until the nurse finished her rounds before entering my room. She closed the door and whispered, "Nobody followed me." I nodded. I've been waiting. She placed a small laptop on the bed. I brought something. What is it? Your grandfather kept backup files outside the company. My pulse quickened. You found them. I found part of them. She opened a folder filled with security videos, scanned emails, and financial reports. I couldn't risk bringing everything. I leaned closer. The cameras from the estate. Yes. She clicked the first recording. The dining room appeared on the screen. I watched Nathan leave the table during dinner. He said Grandpa needed help. I whispered. Grace nodded. Keep watching. Nathan entered William's study alone. A minute later, Victoria followed him. They met in secret. They stayed inside for 12 minutes. What were they doing? I don't know. Grace opened another file. It gets worse. An email appeared on the screen. The sender's name was hidden, but the payment records were attached. $250,000. I asked. Transferred to an offshore account. Who received it? Victoria. I sat back. So she wasn't protecting my family. No, she was protecting Nathan. Grace sighed. I wish that were the worst part. She opened another folder. Inside were dozens of edited photographs. I frowned. What am I looking at? They were sent to Olivia. I studied them carefully. Every picture showed me with another woman. They are fake. I know. The shadows don't even match. Olivia didn't notice. I closed my eyes. So Nathan convinced her I cheated. Grace nodded slowly. He played on her fears. I whispered. She wasn't helping him because she hated me. No, she believed I betrayed her first. Silence filled the room. For the first time since the accident, my anger mixed with sadness. Nathan hadn't simply lied. He had built different lies for different people. Grace clicked another file. This one involves Madison. A message filled the screen. It claimed I had hidden illegal company accounts. She published stories because of this. She thought she was exposing corruption. But the documents are fake. Exactly. I rubbed my forehead. 3 women. 3 different lies. And none of them knew about the others. Grace looked at me. That's how he controlled everyone. A soft knock interrupted us. Grace quickly closed the laptop. Detective Daniel Ross stepped inside. I hope I'm not interrupting. Not at all, Grace answered. He looked from her to me. I wanted to ask a few more questions. Grace stood. I'll give you 2 some privacy. After she left, Russ pulled up a chair. How's your memory today? I shrugged. Still confusing. He smiled slightly. Interesting. What do you mean? I've noticed something. I stayed quiet. You act lost whenever visitors are here. My heart skipped. But when you're alone, you read medical reports upside down without turning them. I met his eyes. Neither of us spoke for several seconds. Finally, he said, You're smarter than you're pretending to be. I didn't answer. I'm not asking you to confess anything, he continued. I'm only asking one question. What is it? Are you in danger? I hesitated. Then I gave the smallest nod. Russ leaned back. I thought so. You believe me. I believe someone wanted that crash to look like an accident. He stood. If you remember anything useful, contact me. As he reached the door, he quietly added, I won't force you before you're ready. That evening, an elderly man wearing a gray coat entered my room. I was told you wanted to see me. He smiled sadly. I'm Samuel Brooks. I don't remember you. I was your grandfather's closest friend. Hope returned instantly. Is Grandpa all right? Samuel looked around before speaking. He asked me to deliver a message. I leaned forward. What message? He said the truth can't wait anymore. What truth? Samuel lowered his voice. Nathan is not a Carter by blood. I stared at him. He was adopted after a terrible family tragedy. I struggled to breathe. My grandfather knew. He raised Nathan with love. Then why hide it? Because he never wanted Nathan to feel unwanted. I swallowed hard. The inheritance. Your grandfather always intended it to pass to you. Before I could ask another question, Samuel's phone rang. His face turned pale. No. What happened? He slowly lowered the phone. William collapsed. My hands tightened around the blanket. Take me to him. Samuel closed his eyes. I'm sorry. No, he didn't survive. The room became silent. Every answer I had waited for disappeared with him. I looked toward the dark hospital window. Nathan had not simply played a clever game. He had built the perfect one. Now I had to finish it without the only man who knew the whole truth. I stopped counting the days since my accident. Instead, I counted mistakes. Nathan made a new one every day because he believed I had become harmless. That morning I heard laughter outside my hospital room. Nathan's voice came first. "We finally made it." Another man laughed. "You'll be running Carter Industries before the month ends." Nathan answered without hesitation. "There isn't anyone left to stop me." I stayed in bed with my eyes half closed. The door opened. Nathan smiled the moment he saw me awake. "Morning, brother." I looked at him blankly. "Hello. Feeling stronger?" "I think so." "That's great." He walked closer. "The doctors say your memory still hasn't returned." "I wish it had." He patted my shoulder. "Don't rush it." Inside, I almost smiled. He wanted me exactly as I was pretending to be. Later that afternoon, Olivia visited alone. She sat quietly before speaking. "Ethan." "Yes. Can I ask you something?" "Of course." She looked nervous. "Do you really remember nothing?" I slowly shook my head. "I'm sorry." She stayed at the floor. "Nathan told me something." "What was it?" "He said you admitted stealing company money." I frowned. "Why would I do that?" "I don't know." She sighed deeply. "Nothing he says makes sense anymore." I stayed silent. She continued. "First, he said your grandfather changed the inheritance months ago." She looked at me. "Then yesterday he claimed Grandpa never finished the paperwork." I watched her carefully. "Those stories can't both be true." "No." She rubbed her temples. "I don't know what to believe." "You should believe what you can prove." The words slipped out naturally. She looked surprised. "You sound different." I forced another confused smile. "Did I say something wrong?" "No." She stood slowly. "I need answers." "So do I." After she left, I called Detective Ross using the private number Grace had hidden inside a book. He answered immediately. "Ross, it's me. I've been waiting. We need to meet." "When?" "Tonight." Grace arranged everything. An unused therapy room became our meeting place. Russ locked the door. "Tell me everything." For the next hour I explained every lie I had uncovered. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he placed a folder on the table. "I have something for you." "What is it?" "Financial records." I opened the file. Several transfers had been highlighted. They all lead to anonymous shell companies. Russ nodded. "We traced them." "To Nathan." "Indirectly." I looked closer. The dates. They matched the weeks before your accident. I slowly exhaled. So someone was being paid. Exactly. Before I could speak again, my phone vibrated. It was Madison. "I need to see you," she whispered. "Now." 30 minutes later, she entered the room carrying a flash drive. I wasn't followed. Ross remained silent. Madison looked at me. "I found something." She connected the drive to the laptop. Bank statements filled the screen. I was reviewing archived payments for an article. She pointed to several transfers. "These accounts financed fake media campaigns." Russ leaned forward. "Who owns them?" I couldn't see at first. She opened another document. Then I found this. Nathan's signature appeared beside a consulting contract. My heartbeat quickened. Madison looked sick. I thought I was exposing corruption. "You were manipulated," I said. She lowered her eyes. "He gave me forged evidence." Russ copied every file. "This helps." Madison nodded sadly. "I'll testify." The following evening, Victoria requested a private meeting. She looked exhausted. Dark circles surrounded her eyes. I made a terrible mistake. I remained quiet. She handed me a small recording device. "Nathan gave me this years ago." Russ examined it. "What is it?" Victoria laughed bitterly. "I thought it recorded business meetings." "And?" "He secretly recorded every illegal conversation we ever had." She closed her eyes. "If the plan failed, he intended to blame me." I asked softly, "You were never his partner?" "No, I was insurance." Silence filled the room. Olivia believed lies. Madison believed forged documents. Victoria believed promises. Nathan had never trusted any of them. He had simply arranged them like pieces on a chessboard. Russ gathered the evidence. "This is enough to begin building a criminal case." I shook my head. Not yet. You want more. I want one chance. For what? To make sure he can't escape. Russ studied me for several seconds. Finally, he nodded. We'll wait. 3 days later, Nathan held a press conference outside Carter Industries. Television cameras surrounded him. Reporters shouted questions. Nathan smiled confidently. I will continue my grandfather's legacy. One reporter asked, "Are you the future chairman?" Nathan straightened his tie. I believe the board will make the right decision. Applause followed. Nobody noticed the unmarked surveillance van parked across the street. Inside it, Russ lowered a camera. Every statement is recorded. I watched the live feed. Nathan waved proudly to the crowd. He believed he had already won. He had no idea every speech, every meeting, every transfer, and every lie was becoming another piece of the case that would destroy everything he had spent years building. For the first time since the crash, I felt completely calm. The trap was no longer mine. It was his. The ballroom inside Carter Industries overflowed with reporters, investors, board members, and employees. I stood behind a closed service door with Detective Russ. He looked at me. Once you walk in, there's no turning back. I nodded. I've already lost the life I had. You may lose even more. I'll finally lose the lies. Russ gave a small smile. Then let's finish this. On the stage, Nathan adjusted his tie and stepped to the microphone. Thank you all for coming. The audience applauded. He lifted a thick folder. My grandfather left clear instructions regarding the future of Carter Industries. Victoria sat near the front row with her eyes lowered. Olivia looked pale. Madison held a notebook but wasn't writing. Nathan continued. These signed documents confirm the board's next chairman. He raised the papers. I humbly accept the responsibility. More applause echoed across the room. Russ whispered, "Now." I pushed the door open. Every head turned toward me. Nathan froze. His smile disappeared. I walked slowly down the center aisle. I have one question. Nathan forced a laugh. Ethan, you shouldn't be here. Why not? You need rest. I've rested long enough. The room became silent. Nathan pointed at me. My brother still suffers from memory loss. I stopped a few feet from the stage. No. He blinked. What? I remember everything. His face lost its color. I remember the dinner. Nobody moved. I remember the phone call. The reporters lifted their cameras. I remember the black SUV. Nathan shook his head. He's confused. I looked directly into his eyes. I remember you. Russ stepped onto the stage carrying a remote control. The giant screen behind Nathan lit up. A security video filled the wall. It showed Nathan entering my grandfather's study. Seconds later, Victoria appeared. Whispers spread through the audience. Nathan shouted, "That proves nothing." Russ pressed another button. Financial records appeared. Large transfers connected anonymous companies to secret payments. Russ spoke calmly. These accounts financed forged legal documents and false media campaigns. Nathan laughed nervously. Fake. Another click. Emails appeared. Victoria slowly stood. They are real. Nathan stared at her. What are you doing? She faced the audience. I accepted money. The room erupted with shocked voices. I believed Nathan was protecting the company. She looked at me. I was wrong. Nathan pointed at her. She's lying. Victoria shook her head. No. She removed a flash drive from her purse. He recorded every meeting. Russ accepted it. Another recording played through the speakers. Nathan's voice echoed across the ballroom. If anything goes wrong, Victoria takes the blame. Victoria closed her eyes. I was never his partner. I was his shield. Nathan stepped backward. This is a setup. Madison slowly walked onto the stage. I need to say something. Nathan glared at her. Sit down. She ignored him. I published stories accusing Ethan. Her voice shook. I believe forged evidence Nathan gave me. She looked directly at the cameras. I never verified the documents. She turned toward me. I'm sorry. I nodded once. Thank you for telling the truth. Nathan shouted. She's trying to save herself. Olivia stood next. Tears rolled down her face. I have something to confess. Nathan whispered, Don't. She looked at him. You told me Ethan cheated. She swallowed hard. You showed me fake photographs. She faced everyone. I believed every lie. Her voice cracked. I helped destroy the man I loved. The ballroom fell silent again. Nathan pointed wildly around the room. They're all against me. Russ pressed the remote one final time. A recording from inside the hospital filled the speakers. Nathan's voice was unmistakable. Don't rush your memory. If Ethan never remembers, everything becomes ours. Nathan's shoulders dropped. The confidence disappeared from his face. Russ looked toward the officers waiting near the entrance. It's time. Two detectives approached the stage. Nathan backed away. You can't arrest me. Russ answered quietly. We can. You have the right to remain silent. The handcuffs clicked around Nathan's wrists. Reporters rushed forward. Camera flashes filled the ballroom. Nathan looked at me one last time. This isn't over. I met his stare without anger. It ended the day you believed everyone would keep protecting your lies. The officers led him away. Nobody applauded. Nobody celebrated. People simply watched the man who had spent years manipulating every life around him disappear through the same doors he had expected to leave as the new chairman. I looked across the room. Olivia cried quietly. Madison lowered her camera. Victoria removed her law firm's badge and placed it on the empty stage. Russ walked beside me. You were right. About what? The truth couldn't stay buried forever. I took one slow breath. For the first time since the crash, I no longer needed to pretend to forget. The truth had finally spoken louder than every lie. Before the ending, months passed faster than I expected. Nathan never looked confident again. The last time I saw him was inside the courtroom. He stood between two officers wearing the same expensive suit he once believed would make him untouchable. The judge looked down. Nathan Carter, you have been found guilty of fraud, conspiracy to commit attempted murder, forgery, financial crimes, and obstruction of justice. Nathan turned toward me. This should have been my life. I answered quietly. It never belonged to you. He laughed once. You think you've won? I shook my head. I stopped thinking about winning a long time ago. The officers led him away without another word. I never looked back. A week later, Olivia asked to meet me. We chose a quiet park because neither of us wanted cameras nearby. She sat across from me holding a small envelope. I almost didn't come. I know. I don't deserve your time. I remained silent. She slid the envelope toward me. Those are the wedding invitations. I stayed at them. They were already printed. She smiled sadly. I couldn't throw them away. Neither could I. After a long silence, she whispered, I'm leaving Boston. For good. Yes. Where? It doesn't matter. She looked into my eyes. I don't want forgiveness. I wasn't planning to offer it. I know. She nodded. I only wanted you to hear one thing. I waited. I loved you. I believe you. Tears filled her eyes. But I believed lies more than I believed you. Neither of us spoke again. She stood. Goodbye, Ethan. Goodbye, Olivia. She walked away without turning around. That was the last time I ever saw her. Not every ending needed another argument. Some endings needed silence. Victoria contacted me several months later. She looked completely different, gone with the designer suits and expensive jewelry. I lost my law license. I heard. I deserved it. She placed several files on my desk. I'm helping people whose lawyers betrayed them. I looked through the papers. Why? Because I know exactly how betrayal feels now. I nodded. I hope you keep going. She smiled for the first time. So do I. Madison visited the company a few days later. No recorder today, she said. That's unusual. She laughed. I wanted to thank you. For what? You could have destroyed my career. You corrected the truth. I should have checked the facts from the beginning. You do now. She smiled. I do. Grace became chairwoman of the Carter Foundation exactly as my grandfather had once hoped. On her first day, she stood beside me inside the main lobby. William would be proud. I hope so. He trusted you. I wish I could tell him everything. You just did. I looked around the building carrying my family's name. It no longer felt heavy. It felt like responsibility. Running Carter Industries was never about revenge. Every decision I made asked the same question. What would Grandpa have done? Sometimes the answer was difficult. Sometimes it was obvious. But it was always honest. One quiet afternoon, Detective Ross stopped by my office. "You finally look peaceful." "I finally am." He smiled. "Do you regret pretending to lose your memory?" I thought about the question carefully. "No." "Why?" "Because pretending to forget helped me remember what really matters." "What was that?" "Character." He nodded. "I've investigated hundreds of cases. And the truth always arrives. It just doesn't always arrive quickly." We shook hands. Neither of us needed another conversation. Everything important had already been said. Late that evening, I drove alone to the cemetery. The wind moved gently through the trees. I carried fresh white lilies. They had become my grandfather's flowers after the accident. I placed them beside his headstone. "Hi, Grandpa." The words came naturally. "I finally finished what you started." I smiled. It took longer than either of us expected. The silence around me felt comforting instead of lonely. I used to think revenge meant making people suffer. I looked at the engraved name. I was wrong. Nathan had lost everything because of his own choices. Olivia had to live with regret. Victoria spent every day earning back a little dignity. Madison rebuilt her integrity one story at a time. Grace carried hope forward. And I carried your legacy. I closed my eyes for a moment. Pretending to forget had given me something no courtroom ever could. It showed me who loved me when I had nothing. It showed me who loved power more than people. Most importantly, it taught me that the strongest revenge is not destroying the people who tried to ruin you. The strongest revenge is building a life they can never take away. I rested my hand on the cold stone one final time. "Thank you for believing in me." As I walked back toward my car, I realized something had quietly changed inside me. For the first time since the night my car disappeared over that mountain road, I wasn't carrying fear, anger, or regret. I was carrying freedom.